Viewers, this normal man goes to the past by making a time machine just to save his lover from death. But will he be able to escape from the very dangerous game of time? We will have to find out about this. In the beginning of the story, we see a professor named Alexander who used to teach in a very big university. Alexander loved to experiment on new things. Alexander also has a girlfriend named Emma, and now he had reached the public area to meet Emma, and now Alexander has proposed to Emma without wasting time. This moment was very special for them, but then a stranger starts staring at them, and then suddenly he caught Emma. Actually, that man is a thief who had come to steal money from them. Alexander had given him all the money he had, but now that thief wanted Alexander's ring. How could Alexander give that ring? That's why now Alexander also starts flirting with that thief, and now the gun in the hand of that thief by mistake goes on, which went directly to Emma. Emma breaks her breath there. That thief had run away from there, but Alexander keeps crying a lot about Emma's condition. After Emma's death, Alexander was all alone, because before all this Alexander used to spend most of his time with Emma, and now his life and his studies had become completely useless. But Alexander had taken a decision, and now he has been working on some unknown experiment for years. And now 3 years passed by. A friend of Alexander named David, he was very upset to see Alexander's condition, but Alexander is immersed in his own world, and now it was revealed that in 3 years Alexander had made such a machine, with which he could literally go to the past and future. Alexander had made this time machine only to save Emma from death, and now he fixes the time 3 years before in his time machine. After a few seconds the machine starts, and now Alexander reaches the time 3 years before. He had come to the same public place where Emma was killed. After meeting the past Emma, Alexander becomes very happy, and now he had gone far away with Emma because Alexander already knew that he was going to be a thief at that place. That means Emma's life will not be lost now. After this, Alexander had gone to pick some flowers by standing Emma there, but then Emma dies in a car crash. Alexander was shocked to see this, and now he also knows that he cannot change the past. That means whenever he tries to save Emma, Emma will be killed for some reason. Alexander is very sad about all this, but now he had decided that he would go to the future with the help of his time machine, because it is possible that the people of the future have found the solution to this problem. So now Alexander goes to 2030 in his time machine, where he reached a huge library in New York, and now Alexander starts reading the books there so that he can find the solution to his problem. Alexander sees an AI-generated holographic image there whose name was Vox 114. When Alexander asks, Vox 114 tells that in this age the invention of the time machine had not yet been invented. Alexander gets disappointed after hearing this, but now Alexander thinks that if he goes to the future, then it is possible that the time machine was discovered in that age. So now Alexander goes further years in the time machine. Alexander had come in 2037. When Alexander reaches the future, then there was total destruction all around in that age due to the strange experiments of humans. The moon was also breaking into pieces and moving towards the earth. When Alexander goes to see all these things more closely, 2 soldiers came in front of him, who were taking Alexander, but then the earth there started bursting on its own. Alexander somehow went back to his spaceship. Alexander was unconscious due to a slight head injury, and now his time machine automatically starts going to the future. As soon as Alexander saw he went ahead in time, when Alexander regains consciousness, he stopped his machine, and now he had reached the earth after millions of years where humans go back in terms of technology, and now humans had started living like the ancient people. When Alexander opens his eyes, he finds himself in a different place. He was in a wooden house, and now a small child comes in front of Alexander. Alexander also went out. While following him, Alexander sees that all the people there were living in a very strange way. They all used to live on the trunks of trees like in the olden days. Now Alexander is not able to understand whether he has come in the future or in the past, because if this is the future, then why is all this so old? Actually, after going far into the future, the technology of all of us would become the cause of our destruction, and now after everything is destroyed, humans will become wild again. When Alexander comes in the middle of all those people, then all the people were looking at Alexander in a very strange way, but now the language of those tribals is something different, which Alexander was not understanding at all. Then a girl of the same tribe whose name is Mara, she started talking to Alexander in English because Mara was very fond of learning different language. The rest of the people of the tribe were considering Alexander a coward and wanted to kill him as soon as possible, but Mara explains to all of them that he is not our enemy. That's why now Alexander is also allowed to live among them. Actually, Mara saved Alexander's life and brought him here. That little kid is Mara's brother, and now Mara was showing Alexander all the places of her house. She also brings Alexander near her time machine, and now Alexander wanted the solution of his problems, that's why he starts going back from there, and then you can hear the sound of heavy drums at that place because of which Mara and Alexander were going there. When Alexander and Mara reached that place, then they saw that the big creatures who were called Morlock, they were attacking people by coming out of the ground. Actually, these Morlocks are such creatures that used to live in the ground, and when they were hungry they used to come to the ground, they used to take people to eat, and now they were taking all the Morlocks one by one and taking all the people. A big Moloch is behind Alexander. Alexander had climbed to a high place to save his life, but that Morlock also comes to him very fast, although Alexander fell on him and stopped the Morlock for a while. But now that Morlock kills Alexander, then a very very loud siren is heard there. This was the message that Morlocks are now going back after catching humans, but now Alexander knows that those people have also taken Mara with them after their departure. Alexander wanted to save Mara somehow. He starts asking the people there about the method. But now Alexander was not going to listen to anyone. Now Alexander was going to ask all these things to Mara's brother. Mara's brother brings Alexander to the cave without fear from where he could have entered the world of Morlocks. After going a little further inside, Alexander comes to a familiar place. This was the famous Library of New York when Alexander came in 2030. There is still a hologram of that robotic AI whose name was Vox 114. Alexander was going to that hologram and asking what was happening. Then Vox 114 told him everything. Actually, a few thousand years ago, a lot of meteoroids had started falling on the earth, due to which some people living on earth had gone into the ground to survive, and some luckily remain on the ground, due to which there were a lot of changes in their body, and they suddenly became mad. When they were hungry, they all used to come to the ground and eat humans, and now this sequence was going on in this way. Alexander had asked that hologram the way to go into the world of Morlocks, and now when he finds the way, Alexander goes to that place with Mara's brother. Those two had now come to a strange structure, that is, this was the way to go into the world of Morlocks. Now Alexander sends back Mara's brother because he may have to face problems in the future, and now Alexander had gone alone to the cave of Morlocks. Alexander saw there that a lot of Morlocks were doing their own work. There were different types of ventilations present there which used to absorb the air on the ground and help them breathe, which shows that Morlocks have a very good mind, but they were all using the techniques of the olden days. Alexander now accidentally falls at one place, due to which a Morlock had seen him, and now he catches Alexander and locks him in a cage. Alexander had also seen Mara there, which was not giving him any response. But now all the Morlocks have a god sitting in front of Alexander, which looked like us humans, only he is completely white. Alexander was talking to Mara all the time, but Mara was constantly looking at that stranger. Actually, that man has a lot of supernatural powers with which he could read the mind of all the Morlocks present here, and at this same time, he could control them. That stranger knows everything about Alexander. Why did he come in the future? That's why now that stranger advises Alexander to go back in his time, because the future can't be changed by going to the past. And if Alexander goes to the past with the help of his machine, and saves his girlfriend, then all his future will change suddenly, and time never works like this. All the things that have happened in the past can't be changed, which means Alexander won't be able to save Emma. That stranger has Alexander's time machine, and he was telling Alexander to go back in his time. Alexander listens to him and sits in the time machine, but he had to somehow revive his girlfriend Emma. That's why he catches that man before turning on the time machine. But that stranger was much stronger than Alexander. Now suddenly a fight started between the two of them. That stranger keeps hitting Alexander. That's when Alexander turned on his time machine, which will take him to the future, but that stranger has taken out a sword to kill Alexander. But Alexander uses a lot of smart work and kills that man with the help of air pressure. That stranger had caught Alexander's neck while falling, but Alexander had activated his machine at the right time, which makes him go to the future, and now that stranger was outside the time machine, then his whole body turns into a skeleton due to time travel, and now that stranger was killed, Alexander has come a long way in time, which sees that our whole earth has been destroyed suddenly, and now Morlocks reigns over this whole world that is in the coming time. Morlocks will come to earth and live, and will kill all humans, and become the king of this place. Although Alexander had found out that he can't bring back his dead girlfriend, but he can save humans from Morlock's attack. That's why he comes to Mara in his time machine. Alexander immediately released Mara, but now all the Morlocks had found out about their deeds who keep attacking Alexander. But Alexander used his brain to trap his small watch in the time machine, which makes a short circuit in the time machine, and now in a while that time machine was about to blast. Alexander immediately starts running away with Mara, and now the time machine makes a very big blast, which was